Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode.
Good morning and welcome to Northern Business Success Stories. So we are joined by Adam Lyons this morning of VFC. He is the co-founder and COO. So thank you ever so much for joining us. Can I ask you to just start off by introducing yourself to us properly, and can you tell us a little bit more about what it is you guys do, please?
Absolutely. So yeah, my name's Adam Lyons. I am, as you said, the founder of VFC. Traditionally, I come from a restaurant background. My wife and I opened a restaurant called Source in York about 5 years ago. We really sort of found ourselves as a core part of the food scene in York, which was a really exciting place for us to be. And yeah, that's kind of where the sort of journey of VFC kind of all began.
Amazing. So can you tell us how has the last year been for you guys? Being in hospitality, owning a restaurant, how has the last year been for you?
Yeah, it's been incredibly difficult. Effectively, as a business owner, you have a responsibility for your team, and not just their financial perspective, but they're also their health, their mental health well-being at the end of the day. And when you're in a restaurant business, you tend to be working all the hours under the sun, and your life revolves around the restaurants and the team around you, and so on and so on. And when the COVID pandemic hit, it just kind of stopped everything. We saw the pandemic coming from the news reports. We were probably about a month before the lockdown happened. We made some very quick decisions on the best way to manage the situation that was quickly appearing. We knew that there was going to be a problem, so we decided to start to diversify. I was working in the restaurant, sort of through the day and into the evening, and then coming home at night and laying there thinking, what we're going to do, how's this going to work? So we made some quick decisions. We decided to spend some time on developing an online ordering system. We then tweaked our menu so that it would be able to be carried, the food would be able to be moved around, takeaway, and then printed a takeaway menu. And then, of course, you have the considerations, well, we've got the food, how are we actually going to get it out to people? So I very quickly spent most of the money I had on takeaway packaging. We had huge amounts of packaging coming into the restaurant before everybody else could, because we knew there was going to be a packaging shortage happening really, really quickly. So they were the kind of decisions that we had to make very, very quickly. I remember talking to my business partner at the time, and he was like, Adam, what are you doing? And I was like, there's something coming. We need to be ready for this. We need to make sure that we can handle this as best as we can. And everyone was laughing at me at work, thinking I was absolutely crazy. But unfortunately, I was proven wrong. And as I said, we were prepared. We were ready. We developed this online ordering system. We just had to push the go button. There was a lot of uncertainty from the government at the end of the day. They weren't prepared to just shut down businesses, but they were recommending people not to go and eat in public places. And when you have a small restaurant like that, we run at capacity all the time. And all of a sudden, people stopped coming in. And so it's a very, very scary and daunting time, but not just for myself, but for my team as well.
Absolutely. So you guys, you were extremely proactive. You saw it coming, were forward thinking, and thought, right, let's get into takeaways. How did you get that message out there?
Yeah, social media plays a big part of any sort of marketing strategy and discussions. It just plays a huge part. So we were straight on social media telling people that we had the ability to service our customers and our guests from their own home. And we started to see that grow really, really quickly, to the point where we decided to not rely on the networks that are already there, like the Deliveroos and such.
Yeah.
So we got our own scooter, and redeployed one of our chefs, because obviously the volume of food scaled down dramatically. But it was so important that we kept hold of our team and made sure that they felt safe and secure. And so we started retraining our team, and I got one of them on a scooter, got them licensed, and we started delivering our own food to our own guests. And obviously, from the consumer's perspective, there was a lot of uncertainty and confusion about how to receive the food, and so on and so on. And so, we were communicating with the people that were ordering, and we were being appropriate when it comes to delivering the food. So some people didn't even want to see us, so we were prepared to just leave the food, ring the door, and run up the driveway, and such. So that's how the business sort of operated in that time.
Amazing. So making that transition from being a sit-in restaurant to moving over to takeaway, and you acted quickly, you managed to source everything that you needed to be able to physically pack everything and get it out there. What was the biggest part of that challenge for you, from moving over from being that sit-in restaurant to being a takeaway?
I suppose the biggest challenge really was the pace. Everything slowed down. Okay. Traditionally, we'd have to be in there at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, prep, trying to get the place open as quickly as possible, and then you effectively your lunch trade drops off a cliff. Where we were usually busy, we'd fill the restaurant 1.5 times during the day, and then 2.5 times in the evening. So instantly, your cash flow just falls off a cliff, and it's noticeable. We were very, very fortunate that the government gave us a cash flow injection. Every hospitality business got up to £20,000 there and thereabouts to effectively plug that hole. And without that, we'd have been finished. We would have been absolutely finished. The building's a lease building, and we've got a good relationship with the landlord, who fully supported us. And the conversation went with him was, look, if you can't pay us this month, just pay us when you can, and we'll start to understand the best way we can kind of get through this together. And because we were open and honest, and we're also open and honest to our guests, they were so supportive over that time. To the point I remember I was sitting at home with my wife, and just thinking, what is going on? How are we going to keep this together? And we got a small amount of money in the bank, but what are we going to do? And then something that brought me to my knees was a guest messaged me privately, and the guest who's been eating with us for a number of years. And he said, Adam, we want to help you. We want to send you £25,000 over, as to support you, to make sure that you're going to be okay, and there'll be no payment plan. If you could pay us, great. If you can't, we understand. It won't affect us as a family, but we want to help and support you. And I just burst into tears. Yeah, okay. It's just the most incredible gesture that I'd ever had. And we didn't take the family up on that offer, because we are proactive and we were driving forward, and we were financially stable. But that was just a moment. I mean, it just shows you how the nation was at that time. Yeah, okay. People were coming together, and they were trying to support each other, and they were thinking of each other, and also local independent businesses. So yeah, just an incredible period of time in our career.
Wow. I mean, there have certainly been situations, haven't there, where we've seen the best in people come out into, the camaraderie almost that I think some of us have witnessed over the last year. But an amazing gesture from them. Credit to you guys for the relationships that you have with your customers.
Yeah, very much so, and also with local businesses within York as well. There was quite some amazing things that were happening. There was a business in York called the Pig and Pastry, who started to understand the social issues that were happening within the city, and formed. I remember I was messaging Steve, the owner of Pig and Pastry, and I was like, what can we do to help? There's obviously something going on here, and he was saying to me, look, hold your horses. We're talking to the local councils, and we're trying to understand what we can do here. And very quickly we formed something called the Supper Collective. And what this was a GoFundMe page, in effect, where we could get support to help families that were vulnerable and that were in need of fresh, nutritional meals. And so we took our time and our facilities to start preparing hundreds of meals per day, with support of the local council, who gave us a distribution facility in a hall, in a church in the city, and started to help us coordinate how we could help these people. And it was a phenomenal operation, actually. I was going into work on my own because obviously social distancing was tricky. We had, we had to manage that situation. We had team members on furlough, which we couldn't just bring back in just to support these sort of situations, and so on and so on. Of course, there was the fear that we were living in. But yeah, we as a collection of restaurants and food businesses, we came together, and that was really special. That's something that will stay with me, really. And we also had to think out the box. So what was happening is if you could imagine, there's all these food production businesses, farms, things like this that were getting ready for their summer season, effectively had this glut of food. Potatoes, asparagus, all the other vegetables. Asparagus, we're a big producer of asparagus in York and the surroundings, and so all of a sudden we just had like van loads full of this produce, and we had this WhatsApp group within the Supper Collective, and we're like, right, today or tomorrow we've got all of this and we've got all of that, and so then we started to have to be really creative because food waste was then becoming an issue, and because the restaurants were closed, the restaurants, hotels were closed, where a lot of these independent businesses were dealing with just simply didn't have a route to market. So they done wonderful things by supporting the Supper Collective and supplying and delivering all this amazing produce. We had local bakeries, Philip and Tina at Haxby Bakers, that were sending out loaves of bread, and then we were getting treats from him and from them. So we're sending these amazing breakfast buns, and because we were working from 6 a.m. to crazy hours to try and make this work. So really, we pulled together. We really pulled together and worked with each other to try and get the best out of what was a terrible, terrible situation.
Absolutely. So tell me about your team. How have things been for your team over the last year?
Yeah, it's been a rocky road, really, I suppose. We obviously had to start to lean on the furlough scheme, because at the end of the day, from a business, even though we were providing a wonderful service, the business was losing money from the overheads that we had, so I suppose we were on the verge of losing money. We're sort of breaking even, and we got to a situation where the furlough scheme was available to us. We had some money in the bank, and we had to make a decision on do we continue the road we go down for a time that we don't know, and we're losing small amounts of money each month, to then putting the team on furlough and protecting effectively our bank balance at the moment, so that we're able to open in the right way when we'd be capable of doing it. So we made that decision to furlough the team, close the restaurant down, and protect source, basically. So we made that decision to do that, and then obviously we were on regular Zoom calls with our team to make sure they were happy and healthy, and we had some members of our team who had to shield because of members in their family and because of personal health issues and things like that, and so we were in constant communication with everybody to make sure everybody was okay. And then in the meantime, I was having a catch-up call again with one of our customers, because we've got such wonderful people around us and wanted to support us. And we had a particular product in the restaurant on our menu called vegan fried chicken. Yeah, okay. And how do you put vegan and chicken together? It's I don't know. I'm not going to get into that one today. However, this particular individual was on the phone. He's like, Adam, I really miss your fried chicken. You know, there's nothing like it. I can't get anything like it. I miss it. And obviously I was still preparing meals, and I was in the kitchen on my own preparing meals for the supper collective. So I said, I'll tell you what, let me make some, and I'll send it out to you in I'll freeze it down. We'll stick it in a box, and we'll ship it out to you, and you guys can have it at home. And so I shipped it. He rang me up half an hour later and said, Adam, I missed it so much. He said, we really need to talk. And I said, well, what do you mean? And I knew at the time that this individual was the founder of a wonderful organization and charity called Veganary, and it's about educating people in the vegan movement and so on and so on. And not knowing also that he's involved in an investment group which manages seed investment, so the beginning pre-seed investment to help proof the concept of a vegan product, a vegan food based in the UK. And so we sat down and discussed how we could make vegan chicken at scale in a facility that is closed down, so the restaurant shut down, and then how could we sell it, and then hopefully gain some really interesting customer feedback. So we went to town. We wrote this business model. We decided that we were going to strip out the restaurant, turn it into a food production facility, and then try and launch this product on a direct-to-consumer model. Now, direct-to-consumer effectively means that we package it, ship it straight to the customer, which is not a cost-effective way of sending food out. But what we wanted to do was provide this service and see, just kind of gauge it. So that's what we've done. We stripped out the kitchen, we stripped out my furniture in the restaurant, we put pallets down, we put in the food safety systems. And during that time, I got in touch with my team, and I said, how do you feel about coming off furlough and getting back to work in a controlled, safe environment while we try to prove this concept of vegan fried chicken? And everybody was up for it. But not one of my team sat them and said, no, it's okay, we're just going to sit at home on the government furlough scheme. Everybody was like, we're in, chef, because that's what you call each other in a restaurant, chef, you know. And they all came back, and it was just a phenomenal moment when all of a sudden the building was breathing again, and you know, we were creating this vegan chicken. But of course, without the real foresight and really understanding what was happening here, we found many challenges. You know, we had problems with cooling the product down, storing it. I remember my wife became COVID positive, and I was effectively the operations man, making sure that everything was happening. And then all of a sudden, I had to self-isolate at home for 2 weeks, and you know, so we had all these challenges that we needed to get through, and then we needed to launch the product. So during that time, we got involved. We got in touch with a branding company who held our hands, in effect, at how we could brand this business and so on and so on. And then we took on a small warehouse facility in just outside the city centre and put a freezer in there. And we had, we had cash flow problems, so I was renting a freezer. It was, it was an absolute nightmare. But we stayed positive, and we believed in what we were going to do, and we launched in December, and it went nuts. It just 10 times the volume we were expecting.
Wow.
And people in York got behind us because they started to hear the story and understand what was going on. Our social media exploded. We had some really, really great social media work that went on to support this, utilizing our networks and as a team, and building this kind of wonderful team of people around us. And yeah, the launch was explosive, and to the point where we had some of the large supermarkets ordering without us knowing, and then ringing us up, contacting us on LinkedIn, saying, we don't normally do this, but we're really interested in your product. And you know, they love the story of Matthew being the founder of Veganary, the activism aspect from him, and the chefy part of the business from me. And it's become a really exciting place to be now. And so we've built a deck of a business deck, an investment deck, to understand what the business looks like, and we've managed to raise a substantial amount of money via equity to learn how to scale the business. So we brought on a sales director who's had previous background, is in large FMCG businesses, and gave him the task to hold our hands to understand how to develop the business. And so and now we've taken on a chief financial officer who's also come from the FMCG background, and we're just building this executive team now to the point where we've now recruited a marketing manager and so on and so on. And so we're building our wider team, and yeah, so you know, that's kind of what's been happening, I suppose, over the last year, and it's been an incredible journey. And you know, so from a lockdown perspective, we've really tried to kind of get the best out of the situation, and try to reach out to a wider audience. I think we know that, you know, COVID has educated a lot of people in many ways. I know for me as a family man, it certainly has, and from people's perspectives on eating as well, and they're wanting to reduce their impact on the world. You know, we can see now that when you shut industry down, it has a positive impact on the world, and so the food business has to adapt, has to change. Slaughtering animals is no longer acceptable, and so we are giving people an opportunity to make an informed decision. And the wonderful thing is that this last 12 months has given people the opportunity to start making those decisions, and that's really exciting from our perspective. So COVID has been an incredibly difficult time for us, but I feel we've really taken the best of a bad situation, and yeah, you know, I consider this last 12 months as just lessons learned all the time, you know, and just trying to smile, take it on the chin, and just working towards you know, a really positive end to this whole pandemic.
I mean, what an amazing year for you guys. The opportunities ahead of you guys just sound incredible. Just sound absolutely incredible. I mean, what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned, maybe about yourself as a business owner and as a leader over the last year?
Yeah, I was incredibly selfish as a business owner, and would feel that I'd have to do everything on my own, and I'd get frustrated by that, and so on and so on. I think over the last 12 months, what I've learned is I have an amazing group of people around me, yeah, okay, who will work just as hard as I am to get the best out of difficult situation. So teamwork, you know, surrounding yourself with people who are better than you. Yeah, okay, and taking the opportunity to learn from them as well. And yeah, that's what I've learned as a businessman, is to really have just a great bunch of people around you, because you can't do it all on your own. You really can't.
Absolutely.
And that's where I am.
Fantastic. So what does the future hold? There must be so many exciting things going on for you guys. So what you're allowed to tell us, what can you tell us?
Yeah, so from Source as a restaurant, we have decided to reopen on a scaled down version of what it was, and we expect that to be open week commencing the 21st of June, and there'll be most of the old team that have been there, so the people that our guests love, and so they're really, really excited. VFC is moving towards a much more scaled model. So we are building relationships with co-manufacturers, so that we can start to supply what is demanded from our various routes to market. We are launching a food truck, which will be going to large events around the country, which will aid our marketing for our supermarket launch, which we expect to see by the end of the year.
Amazing.
And then we also have our international markets as well. So we have had a huge amount of inquiries and demand from multiple countries. And that's really, what we are really working on over the next sort of 6 months, really, is to make sure that we can provide people what they want. We've got a large NPD program, so obviously fish is on our radar. We want to make a positive impact on people eating seafood as well as land mammals and chickens, and so we just want to help change the world. Yeah, okay, and support all these other amazing companies around us that are doing the same thing.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. So what you guys are launching again on the 21st of June. I'm making a note of it so I can, because I want to come.
Right.
But I mean, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and tell us about your experiences. I mean, I can't tell you how I could chat with you all day. I think it's so interesting, and the bigger picture, what you guys are trying to do, the impact that you're trying to make, it's just so incredibly admirable. And yeah, you sound like you've got such amazing people around you that are an absolute credit to you, and I'm really excited to see what happens with you guys over the next few months. So I really want to stay in touch.
Absolutely, happy to, please, yeah, by all means. That's and we'd love to see you at Source as well. And yeah, we're working on a version 2.0 on our VFC at the moment, so that's really, really exciting for us. So yeah, I'd love to send some out to you, see what you think, get your feedback from there, and so on and so on.
That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Listen, thank you so much. I'm definitely, if we can come back and do this again in 6 months' time and see where you guys are.
Happy to.
Perfect. Listen, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.